Now we will discuss how to file a VAT online, and we will proceed with some screenshots that you will see on the FTA website, and it will help you to register your company first, and of course moving forward how to fill the form, how to submit your return. This is what we are going to discuss now. Already we have some basic knowledge about VAT, like if I'm a company, what is the threshold for the VAT valuation? Is VAT for me? This is a question. What turnover I should have? That's a very important point. If your annual turnover is exceeding 375,000 dirhams, then you have to register mandatory for the filing of your VAT returns. You can opt voluntarily even for the VAT registration if your turnover is at least 187,500 dirhams. How this figure will be calculated? You have to see the 12-month range of your year, total value of the supplies in subsequent 30 days. Value of exempted supply will not be considered in terms of your calculation of your VAT turnover. First of all, it's very important for us to know that what is a taxable supply. So taxable supply has certain items inside: standard rated supply, zero rated supply, reverse charges, imported goods. How to register for the VAT? This is the main interesting learning part. So you will go on the website of FTA. First time registration will be almost the same way that you should have a copy of trade license. You should have, and ideally this should be done by the authorized signatory. Passport copy, Emirates ID, shareholder documents, and some other documents that are required time to time on the case-to-case basis. Once all your documents has been submitted, there will be an approval and you will be receiving a tax registration number. It's a very simple process, should not take more than 15 minutes in total. As a precaution, it should be filled by the one who understands, who has a legal responsibility and authorized signatory, because any kind of wrong filing will create complications in future. Before you fill the form, you have to make sure certain important things. Are you registering mandatory or it is voluntary registration? Are you applying for a single company or it's for a group of companies when you have a related parties or a holding structure? Do you have required documents like trade license, certificate of incorporation, letter of authorization for official signatory? Then you have passport copies, Emirates IDs, and some related legal stuff that you have to have while you will be required to have when you are going to fill this form. While you are registering for the VAT, system will ask some information about your business activity. So you have to describe what is your business, your last 12 months turnover figures, what will be your projected future turnover. This is also very important. Expected value of import and exports, if you are dealing with any kind of import and exports. Are you dealing with the local suppliers in United Arab Emirates, or are you interacting with the Gulf Economic Council, countries like Saudi Arabia, Oman? That's a very important consideration. Of course, if you are importer or exporter, you will have a customs registration number that also should be with you. Here we can see, now the first time when you will open the website, you will go in e-services. So you will see this kind of interface. This is for Federal Tax Authority. You have one heading here, create user account or log into user account. So if you are making first time, of course you have to create an account, but if you have already a username and password, so you can enter in the system through using this window. When you click on create user account, it will open a window like this. It will start with your email address. So ideally the email address that you have given in your Emirates ID or at the time of registration, so that will be better to give here. Passwords, you will confirm the password. For security verification, you will select the CAPTCHA and select security questions. So in case if you forget, later you can recover your account by using the security questions. You can have a hint also. So in any case, if you forget the security question, so there might be a hint that can recall you for the resetting. And in the last, you have to agree with the terms and conditions. Once you have done, you have to click the sign up. Once you will click here on sign up, you will receive an automatic email. This email will come to your given email address, and what you need to do is you have to verify. So that step will make sure that you are the right authentic user, and once you will verify, your account is going to be active. So in this window, you can see you will have received a message that thank you very much for creating an account. Please click here to verify your email. So once you create your account successfully, you verify, then you can go in login, and you will give your email and password. You will give the CAPTCHA, and then you are going to log in the system. So once you are logged in, you will see this kind of interface. It will tell you register for the VAT and register for the excise tax. Once we click this register for VAT, we will see a form will be open in front of us, and we will see some tabs like about the applicant, detail of the applicant, contacts, banking details, business relationship. About the VAT, you have declaration, and then review and submit. So these are certain tabs that you will see on your screen. About the applicant, on which basis you are applying for registration. So you are what kind of nature of company you are a joint stock company or what. So you have to define here. Do you hold a trade license in UAE? So you have to say yes or no. Are you applying to create or join a VAT group? So if you are a single filer or you are going to file on a behalf of the group, so you have to choose accordingly. Are you registering mandatory or voluntarily? So you have to choose. If you're based on your turnover, you will decide it is a mandatory or it will be a voluntarily. If you feel any difficulty in this process, there is always assistance is required, and there is a user guide. So once your form is filled, you should check one time, review all, and then you have to submit. FTA is going to receive to review this, and then they will notify you about your tax registration number. That's always a common concern, that if you are an owner of 4 or 5 companies, like in United Arab Emirates, this is a trend that generally one person has 3 companies, 5 companies, and sometimes you have intercompany transactions. So how you can handle such scenario? So in system we have a very good option, that is you can group your companies, and system will treat it as one. What will be the effect of this grouping is system is of course going to treat you as a one entity. And what will be the result of that? Supplies made between the related party companies will be disregarded. But if this VAT group is dealing with any group outside, of course that will be the part of the calculations. That has been shown in this diagram, that if you are a group, company A, B and C, you are dealing with each other, this is no implications. But when you are talking about anything outside your group, then of course when there is a sale, there will be a VAT. So you can see this is a very systematic and organized filing which requires just, which should not take more than 15 minutes in terms of actual filing. So you can do it online. And what would be the possible deadlines? The due date will be 28 days of the end of the return period. Where due date falls on weekends or national holidays, deadline will be extended naturally to the next working days. Of course, if you will not submit your return on time, so you can expect some penalties. This is very important to keep the records of your accounts for the tax compliance purposes. So any kind of sale invoice, purchase invoice, your general ledger, your accounts that you have to keep in your office ready for the review of any tax audit from FTA. Any kind of additional documents that you should also keep case-to-case basis in your premises ready for the audit. The period for intention of the documents should be at least 5 years. Of course, 5 years you will keep the hard copy, but in soft copy it will be always available. So what you need to keep also, all tax invoices and alternative documents related to receiving the goods and services, all received tax credits, notes, all tax invoices and alternative document issued, all tax credit notes and alternative documents issued, you should keep it in your records. Moving forward, record of all supplies of the imported goods and services, exported goods and services, those has already been disposed, goods and services for which the input tax was not being deducted, VAT due on taxable supplies, VAT after any error or correction and adjustments, VAT deductible for any import and export supplies. So we have to simplify the tax invoices, and it should have some compulsory stuff into. What are those? Tax invoice in a prominent place, means if we see the document, we can see this is a tax invoice. Should have a standard name, address, tax return number of the supplier, date of issue, description of the good, total amount payable, total VAT chargeable. These are the components that we need to see on a tax invoice. There are penalties, of course. With the passage of time, it's going to be more clear, case-to-case basis, how much penalties has been. There should be a penalty table that will be issued soon, so we can refer to that for case-to-case basis. There will be some strict penalties on tax evasion, so any point of time, if someone is going to provide full information and data, and a person deliberately conceals and destroy documents or other materials, so the person is of course going to face legal complications by the FTA. Generally, it can be up to 5 times, or it can be imprisonment based on the sensitivity of the documents and nature of the case itself. We can see that the tax return online filing, it has some easy steps, and once the actual filing will come, we will be more clear about it, how to do it by yourself, keeping yourself online.